with
Many are my
me.
persecutors and my enemy, yet do I not decline from thy testimonies. I beheld the transgressors and was grieved because they kept not thy word. Consider how I love thy precepts. Quicken me, O I am, according to thy loving kindness. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgment endureth forever. Princes have persecuted me without a cause, but my heart standeth in awe of thy word. I rejoice at thy word as one that findeth great spoil. I hate an arbor lion, or boar lion, should I say. But thy law do I love. 7 times a day I do praise thee because of thy righteousness, thy righteous judgments. Great peace have they which love thy law according, and nothing shall offend them. My soul hath kept thy testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I have kept thy precepts and thy testimonies, for all my ways are before thee. Let my cry come near before thee, O I am. Give me understanding according to thy word. Let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word. Let my lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. And let thy hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. For I have longed for thy salvation, O I am. Sinini Nanini. And thy law is my delight. Let my soul live, and it shall praise thee, and let thy judgments help me. For I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy commandments. Psalms chapter 119, verses 157 through 176. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and those of you on the share platforms. You're walking with Mr. Clay, and I'm Mr. Clay. Yes, and we thank God for you. We thank God for all that you've done, even with a hand clap of praise. We thank God for just who you are. We thank God that you have been with us from the beginning. We thank God for those of you that have been with us thereafter and here and there's about. And we thank God for those of you that have just subscribed or followed. And we also thank the Most High for you that are about to subscribe or follow. And we call those things that are not as though they are. All praises to the Most High. Yes, and one other thing, we're going to say that, deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts and men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seat forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, can't forget that one, because a whole lot hinges on that. How we have been swayed by neglecting of the word of the Most High by these evil spirits. These evil spirits will cause many things because of the simple fact, even though it's a scripture that letters and texts that have been corrupted, says when a man is drawn of his own lust and then enticed, and when he's enticed, the sin in his heart, when he's drawn of his own lust, sin is in his heart. And if sin is in our hearts, God will not hear us, according to the psalmist. So when sin is conceived, it brings forth, when lust is conceived, it brings forth sin. When sin is finished, it brings forth death. In other words, transgression against the law. It starts as a thought. We'll put it that way. And we thank God for that. Now, we're in the book of Oshea, aka Joshua. We remember last time that Moses had a speech impediment from a baby when Balaam tried to have him deleted because the daughter of Pharaoh had adopted him as her child, and he was allowed to come in amongst the hierarchs, the oligarchs, should I say, that were with the king or the pharaoh at that time. And they were really prophecies that went forth about him, Balaam reminded them of it. And so they were seeking to kill him because he took the crown from off the king's head and put it on his head. And the king was really concerned then, and he wanted to put that baby to death, or that toddler to death. But an angel of the Most High came and as an old man, and he gave him the baby took a live coal in his hand, but the coal was cool when the baby touched it. But when the baby put it in his mouth, when Moses put it in his mouth, what happened? It's hot. It burnt his mouth bad. I'm sure that baby was really crying. Baby Moses. Yes, that was to save his life. To show that this baby don't know what he's doing, but God had a different plan than what they saw. Now, we're in the 15th chapter of the book of Joshua. The 15th chapter of the book of Joshua. Yes. Now, this is what God had allotted these people as far as Jacob, the children of Jacob. He allotted them lands throughout what they call Palestine. Really, you would just call the land whatever the ancient name of Israel is supposed to be, because many names have been given or renamed by the colonizer, and some of it is reflected in his books or these collected books, even in the books that are translated of those that were not canonized by them. They deemed them holy. It's not that you don't deem them holy. It's the Christians hierarchy, or the Islamic hierarchy. All of these might deem these books unholy, but to us that believe in the law, statute, commandments, and ordinances, we look at these books to know God and understand God. That's why we look at these books. Now, for our ways of our ways of trying to figure out whether books are false or not by the commandments, statutes, and ordinances, we will know these things. See, the heathen don't know. The heathen could be white, or it could be black or white, whatever you want to call it, mixed with in between, whatever. But either way, we look for him to know God. God is fair. When he said, if you shoot me, my relative can come back and shoot you, that's fair. When he said, if you stab me, my relative can come back and stab you, that's fair. In God's eyes. Not in the Christianity liberal eye, because they are mostly under biasness, racial biasness. And they have enacted laws that reflect their racial biases. Yes, they have. Not only amongst the colonizers, but also the Arabs and any other country that you may go to. How can a man live 24 hours after he had been proven guilty to have demised a person? God said, get rid of him quick, but it's for money. Now, there's always money involved. Or there's always a bias because they look like me. I just put them in jail for a good while. That's it, so they can live out their lives. But yet they hideously, and the liberals, you see how backwards and evil liberals are, or these people they have named liberal. Oh, it's so inhumane that this person should be subject to a firing squad or hanging or lethal injection or whatever. It costs the taxpayers. So we just let them leave in the prisons. It costs the taxpayers even more. Man cannot rule man, period. It takes God to rule man. It's been proven time and time again, even to this day. But nevertheless, I digress. Chapter 15 and verse 1. And then this was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families, even unto the border of Edom. Now, Judah came from the border of Edom. That's near those mountains. Near those mountains, yes. Edom, the wilderness of Zin southward, was the uttermost part of the south coast. Their south border was from the shore of the South Sea That's the Dead Sea. From the bay that looketh southward. There's a bay there that looketh southward. Okay? Now it was on the other side, should I say. And it went about to the south side of Mal-le-Harbim, and passed along to Zin, and ascended up on the south side to Kadesh Barnea, and passed along to Hezron, and went up to Adar, and fetched a compass to Karka. See, you got there where they put all these things more eastward, above the Jordan, when it has a lot to do with the Dead Sea or the Salt Sea. And see, this is how we know that that's not the correct Jerusalem. They have been given in the so-called land of Palestine this day. Now, from thence it passed from Asman, and went out unto the river of Egypt, and going out to that coast where the sea, this shall be your south coast. And the east border was the Salt Sea, even unto the end of Jordan, and their border in the north quarter was from the bay of the sea. The bay of the sea. Which sea? Unto the end of Jordan, and their border was from the north quarter, from the bay of the sea to the uttermost part of Jordan. And the border went from Beth Ogea, passed along the north to Beth Araba, and the border went up to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben. In other words, there was a town named after him. And the border went up toward Debir and the valley of Achor, and so northward, looking toward Gilgal, which is before going to Adumim, which is on the south side of the river, and the border passed toward the waters of Inishmish, and the goings out thereof unto Enrogel. And the border went up by the valley unto Himnom, unto the south side of the Jebusites, Jebusites, Arad, the king. All that's in that same area. And the name is Jerusalem. The border went up to the top of the mountain that lieth before the valley of Hinnom, westward. We're going toward the Nile now, which is at the end of the valley of the giants, northward. In other words, they're going northwest. That's northward, westward. And the border was drawn from the top of the hill unto the fountain of water of Nephtoah, and went out to the cities of Mount Ephron. See, they did not change the wording here. They changed the map, the cartography of these things. This is what they did. To fit the name here in the map is what they did in the Bible, or this 66 books. They did that. Now, you're going to have to follow this like with very meticulously. Getting those maps and being careful, to be careful that, as one YouTuber says, be careful of the hijack. In other words, the lies they telling, or where they would place one land and one land here and there just to pull their own narrative off. And we all know that they're just ish people. They're just colonizers. That's all they are. Just colonizers, calling themselves by a name in order to justify why they're there. That's all. Now, in the border, it says now, verse 9, and the border was drawn from the top of the hill unto the fountain of water of Nephtoah, and went out to the cities of Mount Ephron. And the border was drawn to Bala, which is Curtis Jearim. You remove the J, it would say Kirath-Irim. And the border compassed from Belar westward unto Mount Seir. Mount Seir is where Abram was going to sacrifice his son Isaac, because he loved God more than himself. Yes, and passed along. Now this is evident in what he said to God when he prayed. Now God is one that he sees your heart, but he just so wants to see. He just wants to let you see and let ever see. He's really, this is what, from our point of view and God's point of view, this is what God is saying. Have you considered my servant Abram? One who's upright, perfect. Yeah, he perfect. See, God bragging on him. But God ain't doing it like you want him to do it. The test was really heavy. And it is, the narrative shows the heart of Abram. And we're still in verse 9. And went out to the cities of Mount Ephraim, to the border that was drawn to Bala, which is in Kiriath-Jearim. And the border can pass from Bela westward unto Mount Seir. That's where we stopped at. And passed along unto the side of Mount Jearim, unto Chesalon. And the north side went down to Bethshemesh, and passed on to Timnah. The border went out unto the side of Ekron northward, and the border was drawn to Sikron, and passed along to Bala, even unto Jabheel, and the goings out of the border were at the sea. You know, he's talking about northward here. Now, if you take the map, you're going to see how they manipulate it, because most of them know that most people are not going to follow a map to meticulous ends to point out what's going on. In other words, you're not even doing much. You're just saying, according to this, it's saying this, but you showing me this. And you have to get a map that was well before 1948 in order to understand what is going on here. It has to be well before in order to get the true locations, if that's so. If it can be done, I doubt it, because it was all messed up by the Romans. It was messed up by some of everybody before 1948. And he went up thence unto the inhabitants, verse 15, to Dibron, and the name of Dibron before was Kiriath-Jearim. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Kiriath-Jearim and taketh it, to him will I give Aksah my daughter to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Aksah his daughter to wife. And it came to pass as she came to him that she moved him to ask her father a field, and she lighted off her ass. And Caleb said to her, what wouldest thou? Who answered, give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a southland. Give me also springs of water. And he gave her upper springs and the nether springs. In other words, water was, you needed water. You got to bathe. You got to wash it behind. Yes. Now this is, crops, wash it behind, your body, keep clean. This is all to your health. Now this is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Judah according to their families. And the uttermost parts of the city of the tribes of the children of Judah toward the coast of Edom. Now you see that little string of mountains right there around. You're going to go south. You're going to see it. Southward were Kabiz, Elda, and Jagur, and Kinah, and Dimnah, and Hadah, Kadesh, and Hazor, and Ithan, Ziph, and Tilim, and Bealoth, and Hazor, and Kadata, Kerioth, and Hezron, which is Hazor, Amam, and Shimma, and Molada, and Hasgargada, and Heshbon, and Beth Pelet, and Hazar-Shual, and Beersheba, and Bisophah. I am not pronouncing the J. Bela, and Lim, and Azim, and El Tolet, and Chisil, and Horma, and Zillag, and Madmana, and Susanna, and Leboeth, and Silhim, and Ain, and Midraman, and all the cities are 29 with their villages, and the valley of Eshtaol, and Zoria, and Asna, and Zoanth, and Iganim, and Tupa, and Enam, and Jarmuth, and Adulam, Suko, and Izka, and Sharaim. It's kind of doing it slow, isn't it? And Adithaim. I'm trying not to butcher these words. And Gedera, and Jedarothiam, 14 cities and their villages. Zenan, Hadashah, Migdalgad, and Delim, and Mizpah, Jokil, Lachish, and Bozkah, and Eglon, and Kabul, and Lamam, and Kiflish, and Gederoth, and Beth Dagon. That's another god there. See that? How they hid that in there? House of Dagon is what it means. Just like Bethel means house of God. This is house of Dagon. That's what it means. Beth Dagon. Okay? And Nama and Mikeda, 16 cities with their villages. Libnah and Ether and Ashan and Iptah and Ashna and Zizib and Keilah and Akzib and Marsha, and 9 cities with their villages. Ekron with her town and her villages. And from Ekron unto the 7 seas, all that lay near Ashdod with their villages. And Ashdod with their towns and villages. Gaza, which her towns and her villages, up unto the river Egypt. To the river Egypt, which I understand is the Nile. And the great sea and the border thereof. So, in other words, what it's saying that these probably were joined together. They were one land from the river Egypt all the way there, according to the Most High. We don't know how Pangea played or how these lands seem as though they were one land. By the map of Pangea, it shows these gaps, but that's not the way it was. These were one land. Some of these things you could walk across. And Ashdod with all her towns and villages, Gaza and her towns and her villages unto the river Egypt and the great sea and the border thereof. And in the mountains, Shamir and Jatir and Sokol and Dana and Kirathsana, which is Debre. They changed the name again. And Anam and Eshtimo and Anim and Goshen. They named the town after the place they lived at in Egypt. And Holon and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages. Adab, and Duma, and Ishim. These names are changed today. And Janam and Beth Tapua, and Afika at Afika, and Hubta, and Jerjath Arba, which is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities with their villages. Now he says now, Mar and Carmel, Ziph, Juta, and Jezreel, and Jokjim, and Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Hal, Hul, Bizor, Bethzor, Zur, house of Zur, and Gedor, and Marath, and Beth and North, and El Tikon, 6 cities with their villages, and Karjath Baal. These were Baal worshippers. These were pagans, Canaanites. These were their cities, which is Kirjath Jearim and Rabbah, two cities with their villages. And in the wilderness of Beth Arba, Midden, and Sikaka, and Nibshan, and the city of salt. This had to be near the Dead Sea. In Engedi, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Jebusites and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Jebus, Jebusites is what they call them. They're trying to change it. They're not saying Jebus. They're not mentioning that name until you get into the book of Kings. And the children of Judah could not drive them out, but the Jebusites dwelled within the children of Judah at Jerusalem unto this day. Now that is Tel-Arad. That's right there. It's signs and everything. Canaanitish land. Black folks were there. Hamites. Don't let these people fool you. These were Hamites. They hate that we had a rich history. They hate that the fact that we were very engineers and all kind of, even to this day, you can see the ingenuitive genius of the original man. You only can suppress some things for so long and then it's going to come out. The physical greatness, the mental greatness. Greatness all the way around. I remember one story they had said that this, I say, well, the white guy, and then you had the black guy. They were 2 college students. I think this was in Washington, D.C. It's a news story, yes, and it's true. Fact check it all you want. But they were both in college, somewhere in there. But anyway, regardless of this, allegedly this guy the black guy had got a scholarship to a very prestigious college, or should I say not college, but job offer. And the white guy got very jealous. And he unalived him while he was taking a bath. You have no friends. Many will get jealous of you real quick. Look at all the innovations that are happening on the continent of Africa. Eventually, they're going to have a breakthrough where they can fly with not even having wings. I mean, that's just putting something out there. But the fact is that the ingenuity of even having a television that doesn't even need a cord. Oh, my. God does this for a reason. To try to show you who your enemies are. To show you whether they be among you or whether they be from afar. God knows them who are his. And with that, I'm going to say, trust in God, trust in the I am with all thy might, and lean not to your own understanding, and he will direct your path. Sometimes he just has to tell you to shut up. Even if you invent things or the next move you're going to make, best to just shut up. Shut your mouth. Stop trying to put everything on social media. And he will give you peace.
Walk with me.